Creed 3 being released later this year, I thought now would be the perfect time to review all the movies in the Rocky franchise, starting with the first one. So let's talk about it. Rocky is a 1976 film that tells the story of when the Philadelphia southpaw boxer is given a shot at the heavyweight boxing title. The film was written by and starred Sylvester Stallone in the title role and made him the household name that he is today. Now, I first saw this film when I was in my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and it soon became one of my favorite movies at that point in time in my life. So looking back on it now, does it hold up? Starting off with the positives, one of the things that I adore about this film is how likable the characters are and how the film gets you invested in their journeys and in their relationships. Of course, you have the character of Rocky, Apollo Creed, Adrian, Mickey, all iconic characters played by equally iconic actors, and even characters who in a different script would come off as annoying or just as an overall terrible person, like the character of Polly played by Burt Young, have an odd sense of sympathy and vulnerability to their characters where they're not as repulsive as they would be in a different screenplay. Furthermore, I love how the relationships that Rocky has throughout the film are never static. They're constantly evolving and changing, like his relationship from Mickey at the beginning of the film towards the end of the film, his romance with Adrian, his relationship towards Apollo Creed, and even his friendship with Paulie in some areas of the film. It gives the film a dynamic feel and really builds upon the realism of this world and these characters. I also love how the set design is built off of these characters. There's small little details throughout the film about our characters, their past, their beliefs, that are not directly mentioned, but just scattered throughout the background. Like the crucifix on Rocky's wall, even though we only see him pray or talk about religion only one time in the film right before the fight against Apollo Creed. Or a picture of Paulie in a Navy uniform. Just small details like that that give us an idea of these characters' past and adding on to the believability that these characters were living before we entered at this part of the story within their lives. Lastly, in regard to character, I really enjoy how this is the only Rocky film in the entire franchise to not antagonize the boxing opponent. As mentioned earlier, Apollo Creed is an extremely likable character. He's really only aggressive once the fight begins to get serious. And I believe that's just a wonderful and unique aspect to this movie because, of course, the movie is not about Rocky beating Apollo Creed. It's about him validating his self-worth to himself, proving himself as a fighter and as a man. Next positive I have is the cinematography within this film. The filmmakers utilize a lot of zoom ins and outs within scenes, and although they utilize this technique very heavily, I did not find it distracting, but rather as a nice little glimpse into that type of filmmaking of that era and that time period. And also with the visual aspects is one scene in particular, and that's the final fight scene against Rocky and Apollo Creed. This scene in the film looks extremely unique due to its hard lighting and saturated colors, and it just captures a unique look and feel that really no other Rocky movie has accomplished since, and it's really just the most visually stunning part of the movie in my opinion. Finally, I love how the beginning and the ending of this film mirror each other perfectly. When we first meet Rocky in the first scene, he's fighting alone in the slum neighborhood, and he's called a bum throughout the entire runtime.
You're a bum! You know that? You're a bum!
Versus the ending of the film where he's fighting in front of the entire world, but this time he has the support of Mickey, Adrian, Paulie, and really his whole neighborhood as a whole, and it just shows that evolution of his character and how far he came from where we first seen him. And the film does a great job of really making us connect with Rocky as a character because of how he is constantly put down throughout the runtime of the film and how he is called a bum repeatedly over and over again. Similar to Sam Raimi's 2004 film Spider-Man 2 and how that film treated Peter Parker. This film does the same thing to Rocky, and it really works to make that ending so much more satisfying and sweet, and seeing the love and support that Rocky finally is granted. Now, the mixed aspects. And for this I only have one. And that is that some characters seem to only care about Rocky succeeding once he gets his shot at the title. Now, the reason this is a mixed aspect for me is because I feel like some characters, like for example Mickey, actually have a deep feeling for Rocky and really want to see him succeed, and that's why he's so hard on Rocky at the beginning of the film, telling him that he had potential but he wasted it. However, it's just one of those things, if you're not going to be there for me at my worst, don't be there for me at my best. I think it adds to that layered dynamic that Rocky and Mickey have and that complicated relationship that they have, but it just seems odd. Now moving on to the negatives, and for this I only have two, and they're both really on the technical aspect of it. First one being the audio dubbing towards the end of the film.
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch.
The wrong one.
Really, that's just a nitpicky thing, but it's noticeable when watching Also, the inclusion of what appears to be like news footage of the crowd at the boxing match against Rocky and Apollo Creed. Now, this may have been done to give the film like a sense of realism, but to me it just felt too jarring to go from this nice, clean, crisp film image to a 1970s news camera. But overall, I really love this film. I feel like it has something for everyone to connect to, because at some point in our lives, we've all felt the need to validate ourselves, to prove ourselves, even when the odds seem stacked against us, whether that be academically, in a career, entering parenthood, or some different stage of life. We've all had these feelings. These are human emotions that everyone feels. I feel like that is what made this movie become such a classic like it is today. As always, I thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this classic movie, what you liked, what you didn't like, and when was the first time you've seen it. I'd love to read your comments and hear what you have to say. And as always, I thank you very much for watching, and God bless.